And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for our latest NAGAP webinar. My name is Marcus Hanscom. I'm the Director of Graduate Admission at Roger Williams University up in Rhode Island, and I'm your Technology Chair on the NAGAP board. I'm pleased to welcome your speaker today. It's Stanley Kania from Marywood University. He's a graduate admission counselor there and coordinates one of their alumni programs that he created. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that in just a second. Just a couple of housekeeping things. I want to make sure you're aware. Hopefully you know about our upcoming annual conference for NAGAP that'll be happening Wednesday, April 13th through Saturday, April 16th in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. So we're excited for that. And you'll also be the first group to know that I'm coordinating a trip through NAGAP for a trip to the Grand Ole Opry. So if you're a country music fan, we do have Friday night off, so we've coordinated a trip for the show that evening at 7 o'clock, and we're also coordinating an after-show tour of the Grand Ole Opry and the stage and things, so we're excited for that. So if you're interested in joining us for that, please just shoot me an email. I'm coordinating that on the back end, so just let me know if that's something you're interested in. We do have some limited tickets available both for the show and for the tour, so we'd love to have you join us, both for the conference and, of course, for the Opry tour. So so today's webinar is on alumni engagement and student recruitment. And as we go throughout the session, I encourage you to ask questions. You'll notice on the right-hand side of your screen through the GoToWebinar platform, there's a questions box. Because there's a lot of you, we usually keep everybody muted. And so you can ask your questions in that box, and we will ask those questions to Stan as we go throughout the presentation. So just quickly about Stan, he's earned both his bachelor's degree and MBA from Marywood University. They're located in beautiful Scranton, Pennsylvania, if you've ever been there. Stanley has been working in GEM since 2011 as a grad admissions counselor there at Marywood. And during his tenure there, he's helped launch new online programs in growing geographic markets and used targeted market research and developed industry partnerships with major companies like MetLife and Cigna, and has some successful growth in the alumni area as well. He launched the PACER Alumni Recruitment Team program. You see that's the PART program listed on your screen at Marywood, and it's designed for alumni to become actively engaged in the graduate student recruitment process. The program began with 20 volunteers in 2015 and now has over 55 current volunteers dedicated to the effort. And Stanley is also very active as an alum of Marywood and is finishing up his first term as Vice President of the Alumni Association Board of Directors there at Marywood. So clearly a guy that's connected with alumni and knows what he's doing in that arena. He's also currently pursuing his PhD in human development with a focus on organizational leadership, and has research interests in transformational leadership in higher education administration, alumni engagement, and the effectiveness of post-secondary institutions as incubators for entrepreneurship. So we're really excited to have him presenting for us today. He did present at our annual conference, and the session was very well received, and we wanted to open this up to a broader audience through our NAGAP membership. So we welcome you and welcome Stan, and hope you enjoy the session. So Stan, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Marcus. Thanks for that introduction. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great day so far. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I don't want to keep you too long, so we'll just jump right into it. If you would like a copy of this presentation, you could definitely send me an email to my university email. I'd be more than happy to pass this presentation along to you for your records. And so you have a handout, something to kind of look back on, something that you could use as a reference when you're trying to start an alumni recruiting program or try to integrate alumni recruiting into your recruitment process for graduate students. So there's my email. You'll see it again at the end of the presentation. So definitely feel free to shoot me an email at any time if you have questions or if you want a copy of this presentation. Kind of a little bit about what Marcus said about me. I'm a doctoral student at Marywood University, focusing in organizational leadership. Both my bachelor's and master's degrees from Marywood University. I've been a counselor here for graduate admissions at Marywood since 2011. I'm currently the Vice President of the Board of Directors for the Marywood University Alumni Association. And of course, Marcus touched before on some of my research interests. As most doctoral students do, they have a lot of research interests. About Marywood University, if you're not familiar with us, as Marcus said before, we're located in beautiful Scranton, Pennsylvania, so tucked right in the northeast corner of the state. We are a liberal arts Catholic university. We have about 3,400 enrolled students in which about 1,200 are graduate students. We're a university that has seen exponential growth in our graduate enrollment over the past 4 years, in both traditional graduate students moving, matriculating right from undergrad to grad, a lot of working professionals coming back, but especially a huge increase in our international student population for graduate studies. Our university was founded in 1915 by the Sister Servants of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, so the IHM congregation. The university first started off as an all-female college dedicated to educate the women of northeastern Pennsylvania back in the early 1900s. And our college has expanded throughout the years and prospered. We started becoming co-ed in 1970. We started admitting males, and then by 1988 we were fully a co-ed college. We started off as Marywood College. We didn't gain university status until 1998. Our school currently offers over 36 graduate professional programs, including 5 terminal degrees, which include doctoral programs, architecture, educational specialist, and MFA. Our school is also nationally ranked 4th in the nation for health professions programs by the USA Today and 26th in the country for our PsyD program by Best Counseling Degrees. So when we think of the traditional student recruitment process, we think of a wide array of things. We think of our inquiries, so whether they're submitting them online or they're calling our offices. Students we see at university admissions events, whether it's open houses, student panels, college visits, graduate fairs, just general travel that we do. Faculty appointments. We'll have students that'll sometimes call and want to meet with faculty to learn more about the academic side of their programs. They'll come in and do campus tours, and they may make appointments, but sometimes you'll just have a general walk-in that would say, hey, I'm in the area, I want to learn more about your grad programs, what do you have to offer? And then we have our traditional marketing materials, so your mailings, your website, emails, view books, graduate catalogs, things of that nature. So recruiting students with alumni, well, why in the world would you want to use alumni in recruiting students? You all know alumni of your university is one of your largest constituents that your university has. So why would you want to use alumni? For a couple different reasons. Number one, they share a lot of common views with alumni. They want to know, well, why did you choose this school? Maybe the same reason why I'm choosing this school. What attracted you to this program, to this industry? But more importantly, how did going to your university or to this university really help educate you both academically and professionally to enter the job market or professional careers? And that could be looked at from different angles, whether you're a traditional matriculating student from undergrad to grad, or if you're someone who maybe is going back to school to change career paths. Recruiting students with alumni also presents opportunities for parents to ask questions to alumni. I'm not sure about your individual institutions, but I know for us here at Marywood University over the past couple of years, we have seen a large growth in the number of parents that are coming with students to open house events, campus visits, campus tours, things of that nature. So parents are getting a little bit more involved in graduate education now. So it presents the parents now opportunities to ask alumni. And one of the biggest questions that our alumni get from both students and their families is, if you could do it all over again, so your education, would you go to the same institution and why? It's actually a very good question. It's a loaded question. They can go any way in different directions in answering that question. But that's a common question that's brought up by students and parents to alumni, and it's a great question. And then finally, it just starts the networking process between students and alumni early. As I said before, alumni are one of your largest constituents, and they bring to the table a breadth of professional and academic knowledge that could really help a student get into a certain professional network in front of a certain group of people, especially if they're looking to land their first full-time job or if they're looking to switch careers and enter a new industry. We see that common, and a lot of students want to work with alumni, but they just don't know how to get introduced or how to penetrate that area. And having an alumni recruiting team or alumni recruiting group really helps open up those network opportunities, which are so integral to student success. So some student benefits of alumni recruiting: the student gets a better sense of student life. So what was it like to be a student on campus? Were you in any clubs, organizations, anything related to your major? Better sense on academics. So what courses did you take? What courses maybe should I take as a student to help me get into a certain field? I mean, nowadays professionals are looking for students to be more refined and more defined as to specialties. So what's your niche when you're looking to get into a professional network? Sometimes having that added knowledge of which courses to take could really help elevate a student in trying to seek a job. Again, it establishes relationships for even recommendations or future mentorship. And obviously, opportunity is knocking. It not only facilitates networking, but it helps develop the professional side of the student. So in my mind, every student has two sides, an academic side and a professional side. They're already going to go to graduate school to hone in the academic side, to know the theories, to apply the theories of what they're learning to actual practices. The professional side is maybe the area that a lot of your traditional matriculating undergrad to grad students kind of lack on. They may not have had an internship. They may not know really what working in this industry is like. So having these types of students network with your alumni really helps them develop that professional side. It could help them with resume building, internships, landing a first job. So that side of the student is just as important as learning the academics and the theories and the application of theories that you would normally get in a classroom. Some of the alumni benefits are, alumni are engaging with the institution. They're staying up to date as to what's going on at your school. Are there new programs that are coming up? Are there new buildings that are being built? New endeavors that the university is looking at launching or has launched? So it makes them a knowledgeable spokesperson for your institution. It provides alumni with satisfaction in giving back to their alma mater. As we all know, I mean, definitely fundraising and philanthropy is a huge component of university development. However, there are some alums who at a given time may not be in a financial position to make a monetary philanthropic donation. So donating their time back to their institution and helping be that university spokesperson is just as important. Plus, it's also at no cost. You're not paying these alumni to volunteer. It's them doing it out of the goodness of their heart, trying to give back to their alma mater. But also you want to reciprocate and do something to recognize them and what they do for you and your institution. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then finally, it also keeps them knowledgeable about market trends. So if they're a mid-level manager, a senior manager in their industry, it allows them to stay up on market trends, which would be definite beneficial information to pass along to students. And the institution benefits, obviously, cultivates relationships with alumni. Engagement philanthropic donations stem from engagement. So first, you engage the alumni first, you get them involved, and then down the road, if they're involved and they find something they're passionate about, they may be asked at that point to give a monetary donation. So in my mind, working in alumni for the past 5 years, we see that engagement creates philanthropy down the road. And alumni referrals really go a long way in helping showcase your institution, showcase the programs that you have. So some best practices for alumni recruitment. Some people you want to target when you're looking at creating your core group of alumni volunteers. First, you want to target younger and more recent alumni. They are your fresh brains. They're your fresh eyes that have just come out in like the past 10 years is my recommendation to target when I mean young alum. So anyone in the past 10 years. They give you fresh perspectives as what it's really to be like on campus. What were their opportunities and what types of pros and cons did they have or do they struggle with making that transition from student to professional, trying to find a job, securing a job. So they really are able to give a lot of insight and a lot of great information to prospective students. You also want to look for mid-level and senior managers, so those people that are making hiring decisions. They will tell students, here's what we look for in employees. Here are the things that stand out on resumes, CVs, job applications for us. So it really gives students the chance to learn more about what they need to do to make themselves strong candidates for certain jobs. Also, your alumni board members. These are already people who are recognized for being great ambassadors of the alumni core group or the alumni of the university. So using them to gain access to a wide array of professional networks would be beneficial to students as well. Affinity group alumni, so targeting people that were in certain clubs and organizations, whether they were more, campus ministry, more service-based alums, contingent upon maybe what students are looking for to get involved with co-curricularly. This sometimes isn't as important to students as learning more about the academic side and what they need to do to get a job or to change careers. Another key group you could definitely reach out to and try to recruit are your former admission student ambassadors. They already are knowledgeable about the institution, they already know some of the commonly asked questions, and they're familiar with the admissions process of your institution. So they're great people to have. They'd be able to give a little bit more information than what your normal alumni volunteer may be able to give. And also make sure you have diverse professional academic backgrounds. So you always want to be sure you can match a student with an alumni. You want to make sure you can match them up by program so they can have someone to talk to. What was it like going through, XYZ program, and what did you find were the hardest parts of the curriculum and getting out and trying to find a job in that industry? So those are some areas that could be important. So now we know who to target, but how do we target them? So some best practices for searching for these alumni. Number one, look at your alumni registry. Contact your Office of Alumni Affairs, your development office, and ask for a list. Who do you have, or who do we have as an institution that graduated in the past 10 years that we have contact information on? So name, addresses, emails, phone numbers, and then you want to see what their majors were too. So what programs were they in? That way you can match them up with these students as they come through your admissions funnel, as they come through your admissions pipeline. Also, you can look at student records and yearbooks. So look at records from different academic programs. Who do they have in classes? Athletic rosters if you have any grad students that play a sport. Social media outlets. It is crazy ridiculous nowadays to the extent of what type of marketing you could do with Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, things like that. So just doing a simple geographic Facebook search of people that list that they attended your institution will also be a great way for you to research prospects to recruit for this alumni program. And again, like I said, I can't stress it enough, make sure you have diversity among your volunteers. Make sure you have various professional backgrounds, various academic backgrounds, that way you could always match them up and pair them up with students. So now we know how to find them, we know who to look for, but how are we going to keep them engaged? Well, what we do in our program here is we have them help us with recruiting. So get them involved in your process. When you pull lists of prospects and inquiries or applicants, have these alumni, when you match them up with students for based on programs, have these alumni reach out to your prospects, to your applicants, have them send an email, have them write a letter, have them make a phone call, something that will be an extra touch point for that student to feel that they are welcome at your institution. This institution goes above and beyond for their students. That's one thing that really resonates in the minds of students as they go through the application process. Have these alumni also attend some of your admissions events, whether it's open houses or grad fairs, orientation, anything like that for alumni to make that connection with these students. Make sure you offer a variety of options for alumni to volunteer. As I said, this is a volunteer program. We don't want to dictate to our volunteers what we want them to do. We want to make sure they want to do what they want to do in order to stay engaged. So if I have an alum that says, hey, you know what, Stan, I would really rather make phone calls, great. I'm not going to tell them they can't do that. I'm going to want them to feel comfortable with what they're doing so they stay engaged, so they are liking what they're doing and they're not going to say, hey, you know what, you're telling me what I have to do, I'm kind of turned off by that. I don't want to be involved. So make sure you have a variety of options for alumni to kind of pick and choose from what's appealing to them, which falls in line with maybe their time constraints, what they can do, what they can't do. You always want to give them options, that way they stay engaged. And use them as a resource for new ideas. So what are we doing that we could be doing better in our program? What do you think are different areas we could look at, recruiting students that we're maybe not doing right now? So are there new trends that are coming in certain industries that would be attractive to a certain demographic of students? So using them as kind of, a brain pool to go to access information and get feedback and kind of bounce ideas off of is very beneficial. It's always good to have, a fresh set of eyes and ears when you're trying to think of new marketing strategies. So getting them engaged in that aspect too really has them take ownership and leadership of this volunteer program. And then also recognition. Recognition equals engagement. If an alum is being recognized for a job well done, they're going to stay engaged. They're going to care more about the great work they're doing, and they're going to keep doing that great work, and they're going to bring other people to the table and say, hey, John, Sally, Jim, I'm doing this. You guys would be great for this. Why don't you come on board and help us out with this endeavor? So it's that peer solicitation that will actually have alumni help recruit other alumni for you. So it takes a little bit more work off of your table, and it allows these alums to really take ownership of this group and make it their own. Something that's going as simple as listing, the list of volunteers on their website, or having a special recognition event for them once a year, coordinating it with your Office of Alumni Engagement or Development Office. Get creative with these ideas. Anything that would make them feel happy and make them feel welcome back at their alma mater will just increase their engagement and keep them engaged in this whole recruiting program. So to tell you a little bit about what we do here at Marywood, I've developed in 2015 the PACER Alumni Recruiting Team program, so the PART program. It's a group of over 55 alumni. We began in January with about 20 volunteers, and they work closely with grad admissions. Their main purpose and their mission is to help recruit and retain graduate students, but furthermore, to help foster and develop a professional network for these students. So they're not only using these alumni as people to give me more information about my program or the institution, but they're using them as a professional network. They're becoming more of that young professional. If they're a traditional matriculating student, they're honing their professional side of themselves, as I so eloquently said earlier. The main responsibilities that we give our volunteers in the program is to contact prospects through the admissions funnel. So phone, email, mailings. What we do is we have them, when a student inquires, we have them reach out to the student and says, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm an alumni volunteer from the admissions office, and I was a student in your program that you're applying to. Do you have any questions that I could answer for you? Do you want to know what it was like to be in the program, how the program helped prepare me for getting my full-time job? But then also moving it down the admissions funnel. So not only from the point of inquiry or prospect, but also through accept and enrolled students. So when a student goes through the process, if they become accepted, that same alum would call that student and say, hey, I heard the great news. You've been accepted. What wonderful news. That's awesome. Congratulations. And then when that same student pays their deposit and decides to enroll, that alum would call that student back and said, hey, I heard you paid your deposit. You're enrolling. Welcome to the Marywood family. Now what else could we do as an alumni group for you to help you move forward with your career, whether it's professional development, conferences, just getting in touch with people in various networks, internships, recommendations, things like that. So they use this group as kind of a mentorship program as well, which is great, and students take advantage of that. In the past couple of years, our university has seen a disconnect between the student population and alumni, and there's been a bridge there where students would want to access professional networks, and they wouldn't know how to do so. This organization really kind of bridges that gap and brings the two together to help foster and develop those professional networking relationships, which I think we all would agree is an integral part of landing a job and maybe changing careers as well. So what we do is, as I said earlier, we match students to alumni based on their academic program. So if I have a student who is looking to come in for our MBA, I match them to an MBA alum. Same thing for a student in any other of our academic programs that we have. We match them up, and that way the alumni could speak to the program, speak to what their personal experiences were, and focus on those touch points. So the execution of this program, I myself as a coordinator generate lists of prospects, inquiries, applicants, and I match them with alumni. So I go through our registry and I see who we have as a volunteer, and I match them up. Then I send their information out to the alum and say, here's a new student. Feel free to contact them if you wish. Sometimes we have multiple volunteers that are in the same program. So I have seven core MBA alumni. So what I do is when I get a new student, I divvy them up equally so everyone has an equal workload. As I said, again, the alumni then reaches out to the prospect. It starts engaging the students. So the results that we've seen from this, the alumni, they love the networking with prospective students to promote their alma mater. Like I said, a good majority of the volunteers in my program are those young alumni that I defined that are within the past 10 years. So some of them can't give financially. They're not in that position to. They're just starting out their professional career, so they need to maybe save up as much money as possible, whether they're trying to buy a new car, get a new house, anything like that. So for them to donate their time, they love it, and they enjoy it so much that they've actually, as I said before, they've helped recruit other alumni to join, which is huge. That peer-to-peer solicitation is key in trying to help grow your alumni base for this program. And like I said before, it allows them to give back to the institution other than a monetary donation. Then the students, they love speaking to alumni programs, learn more about networking opportunities, job placements, internships. So that's a huge part that the students love. We've been working more closely with our alumni office and our career services office, and working at developing more internships and finding more internship placements for students, and working with our professional networks and seeing if any of them could take on interns at their places of employment. So that's really helped our students a lot. So looking at it too, in my opinion, here are the top 3 takeaways: finding alumni, engaging alumni, and retaining alumni. So when we look at finding them, utilize a lot of your in-house materials, your in-house resources to find alumni, but also look at those social media resources that you have as well, like Facebook. Like I said, you could conduct searches in geographic areas of alums that list that, or people that list that they went to your school. They listed your school as their place of education. So you could definitely do that. Engage in the alumni. Offer a variety of volunteer options for alumni. Don't lock them into doing just one thing. Give them a wide array of things to do. Like I said, whether it's making phone calls. I have a core group of alumni that just want to make phone calls. I have another core group that loves more of the one-on-one interaction. So they're my core alums that will come to our open houses, or if I'm traveling in their area, they'll say, hey, you're going to X university. I only live a few miles away. I'll meet you there, and I'll sit with you at the Marywood table and talk to students. So some of them prefer the one-on-one. So I'm like, heck yeah, you want to come? Come on over. So give them that variety of options. let them choose what they want to do. Empower them to take ownership and control of this organization. Let them make it what they want it to be. And then finally, retaining them. It's great if you get them, but if you can't keep them, that's a problem. So any type of system you could develop for recognition and reward. As I said before, whether it's just something as simple as listing their name as an alumni volunteer, or coordinating with your other offices on campus, and maybe having a luncheon or a networking event for students and inviting them all there and recognizing them as leaders of this organization, leaders of this group, really goes a long way. And using their expertise to help you build your program. So having them, as I said before, as kind of your brainchild, so to speak, going to them with ideas and saying, hey, we're looking at doing this. Do you think it'll work? Yes or no? Or ask them, well, what do you think would work? How would you like to see this group grow? How would you like to see us spread our reach, whether it's geographic or looking at doing some other type of engagement aspect with prospective students and families? So your mission now, should you choose to accept it, if you already don't have an alumni recruitment process, or if you don't engage alumni in your recruiting process, I challenge you to try to develop it. Try to develop a strategy to engage alumni to aid in recruitment for your institution. It's just, honestly, it's free. It's not going to be any constraint to you or your budget. It's free publicity. It takes away a little bit of manpower from your counselors, your counseling staff. So coordinate with the necessary offices to make this possible. Have a talk with your leaders in GEM. Have a talk with your counselors. Have a talk with your supervisors, your directors, your VPs, your deans, and say, this is an idea. I think this is an avenue that we could explore, and it's another touch point for us to connect with students, and it's not going to, it's not going to be a constraint on our budget. And then pick their brain about it, and then contact your alumni office, your development office, and say, well, what can you do to give us a list? We're looking at, creating this endeavor. Let's all sit down at the table and think of a strategy, of an idea. It's going to take a while to develop this. It took me about a whole year to really put the plan in place. So baby steps. You have to crawl before you walk, and you have to walk before you run. So it is going to take some time. But when the time is right, and you'll know when it's right, test the waters. See what it's like. See how receptive the alumni are. What we did first was we simply invited alumni to our open houses, and we said, let's just have you come and mingle and speak with students and have a panel, have an alumni panel. And then from then it grew to come to orientation, meet the new students. And then from there it grew to make some phone calls, email some students, and it's grown from there. So baby steps, little by little, we were able to grow this program, and it continues to grow. So I think if you were to try to create a program like this at your institutions, if you take it step by step and you show them the benefits to the institution, the benefits to the student, the benefits to your office, I wouldn't see why your department wouldn't want to engage alumni. It's another touch point to reach out to students and to one of your largest constituents, one of your largest advocating bodies for your institution, to say, students, come to our school. This is what it did for me. This is what it could do for you. So going that extra mile and trying to offer a program like this, I think would benefit your office, your students, and your university as a whole. This is just some of the bibliography stuff that I had when I wrote the publication that was published in Perspectives in the fall edition. And again, if you have any questions, definitely please feel free to shoot me an email, give me a phone call. There's all my my information. So I do appreciate your time, and I wanted to make sure we had enough time to handle questions. So if anyone has any questions, definitely feel free to let me know at this time.
Thanks, Dan. That was really great. And so for everyone on the call, we do have one question right now, and I'll get to that in just a second. But for anybody who else has any questions, remember that questions box on the right-hand side. You can just type in your question there. We'll be happy to get to it. in the order that we received them. So, Stan, the question that we have here, how would you recommend using an alumni program for a school that has over 120 graduate programs at general events, and that includes open houses and fairs? And this person said, I'm most interested in what type of training program you might use for the alumni, as it may be harder to match alums to students for the same program. And how do you update those alumni on what's going on at the school since they left, particularly if they've graduated some time ago?
Okay, that's a good question. What we do is, for training, when we have alums that want to volunteer, we have webinars. So we'll do a webinar semesterly for people that are coming into our program. So we'll have it at the beginning of each semester. So one in the beginning of the fall semester. For us, that's the end of August, and for one in the beginning of the spring semester, at the beginning of January. And we'll kind of go through what we look for in our volunteers, what volunteer opportunities are available for them, some major questions that they get from, some common questions they get from students. We always have the alums, when they send things out to students, we always tell them, make sure you include the contact information for the student's counselor. So if they have any additional questions, or if they have questions that the alumni can't answer, the alumni always refers them back to our office. And we supply all that information to the alumni. So we generate lists for them on a monthly basis and send them out to them that says, okay, here's who you have in your prospect pool, here's who we have, here's their information, their name, address, phone number, email, here's what their program is, here's what their counselor is. Now, if you're a school like this individual who maybe has a larger graduate population, over 120 programs, if it's harder to match students up with alumni by program, I would suggest at that point just matching them up with an alum in either a program that's closely related to the program in which the student wants to pursue, or B, just match them up with an alum in general to provide that added touch point, that added outreach to students. That one little phone call could be as simple as making or breaking a student's decision. I've had a student that was admitted that told me, after your alum called me and congratulated me on my acceptance, and then when I paid my deposit and I enrolled, and they called me and welcomed me to your family, like that resonated well with me as a student, because it made me feel like I'm part of a community. I'm now part of an exclusive group. They said that's what really made me feel welcome, feel at home at your institution before I even stepped foot in your classroom. So just providing that extra touch point really resonates well with students. So those would be my suggestions for that individual.
Okay, it doesn't appear like we have any further questions right now. So Stan, thanks so much for your time this afternoon, for presenting on this. And as Stan mentioned, there was a perspectives article that Stan put together in the fall on this, so definitely take a look at that. And we appreciate you providing your contact information. Stan's more than willing to talk to each of you if you have any questions following the session here. And I want to thank you all for your time and for coming today. We will post this recording of the entire webinar up on our YouTube channel, so check that out. And we hope that you'll take the opportunity to visit with us as we go down to Nashville in April. So thanks so much for your time this afternoon. Thanks, Stan. I hope you all have a great day.
All right. Thank you, Marcus.